Well, everybody, hello and welcome back to Pop Apologists, the esteemed podcast from yours truly and my sister Lauren Atkinson. First and last name, baby.
I am here. It's so great to be here, gathered with you, Chandler, with the Pop Apostles, far and wide, all corners of the earth. Hello, everyone.
Everyone, I'm caught in the abyss between my name change because currently my social security card has my new married last name, but everything else has my old last name. And I told myself I was going to be efficient. I was going to get it all done, but I am not.
Such a process.
And I am just like, I've changed my email and that's about it.
You just have the social security card.
Correct. I don't have a new license. I don't have a new passport. I don't have new banking information.
Yeah. I mean, I
have an Alex Mill tote. I have that with my new initials.
You know, that's what counts. The Alex Mill tote and honestly the Instagram. I'm not even sure anyone cares about the legal stuff.
I agree. I totally agree. But I don't think I'll ever have it on my Instagram.
Really? Why?
Do you have your first and last name on your Instagram?
Of course. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Of course. Yeah.
I just don't think people on Instagram need to I don't know. I don't think it really, where is your Instagram on your?
You're going to go by just Chan, like Madonna or Beyonce.
I mean, I kind of can.
I guess you can. It's a little bit
I got to find where your first and last name is on your Instagram.
Unique
It's just
name.
a little formal. I just don't think it really matters. I don't know. People also have a hard enough time with my first name.
Yeah, it's true.
So anyway, everyone, I'm just caught in the abyss. And that's why I introduced Lauren by her first and last name because yours is rock solid.
Thank you. I mean, do you want to share your new last name with people?
I guess I will. Maybe people already know. People probably know. My new last name is Manning. Yeah. So I am Chandler Anderson Manning is my new name.
Which I'm very jealous of because Manning is so similar to Man, which would have been such a cool last name.
Man?
Yeah, M-A-N-N, like Sally Mann.
Oh. Well, thanks. I'm glad you're jealous. I think you have a beautiful last name yourself.
Atkinson is good, but Manning is just so much more substantial and commanding.
It does kind of have Commander Manning, you know?
Commander Manning, author Manning. It just immediately, you're like, this person means business. Whereas Atkinson, Lauren Atkinson gives mall employee.
I completely disagree, but anyway.
Nothing against mall employees, but.
Nothing against mall employees. But what? But what, Lauren? You never worked at the mall. You actually worked at several strip malls. I'm not to be Meghan Markle, but I worked at a yogurt shop when I was 14. Yeah.
Started my...
Strip mall number 1.
I worked in so many strip malls. I was a barista in many strip malls.
Strip mall number 2?
Oh, 4 or 5 in my illustrious career, behind the espresso machine.
Exactly. Several strip malls as a barista.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a server in a strip mall.
Have I ever worked at a strip mall? I mean, you probably know that looking at me that I haven't, but...
Okay. What's that supposed to say?
I'm just kidding. Anyway, what else did you bring to the show today? What else before we get into pop culture?
Well, I just want to say that, we're living in New York City at the moment. I'm actually going home to Puerto Rico tonight, which I'm excited about. But I'm sleeping in New York right now, and we are getting dinner and things.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. And anyway, you brought something to my attention at breakfast that really scared me.
Yeah.
Do you want to share with the
listeners?
Well,
I don't know how to pronounce it, so I don't want to be the... Well, actually, I worked on pronouncing it because I knew I was going to bring it up, but I have no guarantees about it.
Fill you in on something. None of our listeners know how to either, and so you can just, you can bluff your way through.
Well, I keep calling it psoriasis.
That's definitely
psychopsoriasis. But anyway, yeah, Cyclospora. Cyclospora. What? Cycloflorida.
Cyclospora is what it looks like.
Cyclospora.
Yeah.
Cyclospora.
Honestly, that was my first try, and it's very elegant.
It was, but I can do much better with the second one. I'm Legionnaires. So right now, Cyclospora and Legionnaires are really going around and around in my. They're foxtrotting in my brain constantly.
Because apparently these are 2 ailments, grave ailments, we need to be on the lookout for.
Well, grave ailments, I actually am going to push back on.
I don't want explosive diarrhea for 2 months.
Of course not,
Chandler.
But it's not Ebola.
Certainly it's not Ebola.
Which we had this year, which was on the bingo card. You and I did not suffer from Ebola this year, but Ebola was a part of the global arena.
We're getting into hot water.
About Ebola?
Just flexing that we didn't suffer from Ebola. What if someone listening did? How do you think you just made them feel?
No, actually, it's if you suffer from Ebola and you listen to our podcast, write in. I would love to interview you because I actually read a crazy book about Ebola called The Hot Zone.
You read a book about Ebola?
Yes, last year. Some of us read. Some of us, you know, we nourish the garden of our mind with things other than Instagram reels and photos of diamonds.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that's like.
Yeah.
So you just have to report back to
Anyway, Ebola is fascinating to me. But besides that,
what did you learn in this?
Just how crazy like the spread of it is, and how like this was about like an accidental Ebola outbreak that happened, when the contaminant or the disease or whatever like got loose basically from a lab in the US after it was like brought here to be tested.
And like a girl who didn't know she
getting
was
exposed. Like you have to go through so many levels of rinsing yourself off and like not getting exposed to it. But like, you're working in this laboratory with all of these protective layers on, but then like suddenly you're working with the scalpel of like, not to be gross, but you're working with like monkey guts and the scalpel slips. And then all of a sudden you've cut through your 3 layers of gloves.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh fuck, like I was exposed to Ebola and it's really bad.
And were you reading about like some
so I was reading about actual scientists in Virginia who this happened to.
Who like was a researcher who like didn't know she was a princess and like fell in love with an Ebola victim.
No, it had nothing to do with romance. It was just literally about like these incredible scientists.
I'm trying to figure out where the interest began in this book.
I don't know. It's just the fact that I have like a brain that cares about things other than like, I don't know, diamonds and romance and fairy tales.
Again, I wouldn't know what that's like.
But yeah, anyway, Ebola aside, Legionnaires and Cyclospora are very much so in the realm. And I am avoiding or trying to avoid a lot of foods, but it's confusing to me because it's like you want to avoid foods you want to avoid foods where you eat the skin. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, can I have carrots if I shave the top layer off?
I mean, is it worth the risk? Let's just wait till this passes.
Let's talk about the symptoms. So with Cyclospora, it is explosive diarrhea for like months.
I do not want that.
No, nobody wants that, of course. And people, I was reading about it on Reddit, people were like, I am just dying till I get my next dose. Because like it's treatable.
Yeah.
But you are like in agony.
Yeah. I on my flight back from somewhere I visited in the world, I had 14 hours of a similar experience, and that was enough. So it's worth it to me to skip lettuce in July.
I know. But like it's kind of like all fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
I don't know. People are probably going to come for us. If anyone works at the CDC who listens, love to know more about where your head's at with this. But Legionnaires, which sounds very cool.
It sounds like almost like a club.
Yes. It's like we were at Legionnaires on Friday night.
We can never get a table there.
Or we could never get a table at Legionnaires.
We've been on the waiting list as applicants at Legionnaires for over 5 years.
You know, our membership at Legionnaires is $20,000 a year just for the family.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it does sound like an esteemed private club of some sort or restaurant, but that one gives you walking pneumonia, which is not good for a lot of immunocompromised people, excuse me.
Or people just like looking to enjoy their summer.
I did have walking pneumonia a couple years ago, not to brag.
Is this when you like indulged in the Ebola book because all of a sudden you're realizing how ailments could afflict you?
No. This is just, I think I got sick and then I got a lot sicker and I never got better. And then I finally went to the doctor and they were like, you have walking pneumonia. So I think if you are a young, healthy person.
Yeah, I didn't know what walking pneumonia actually was.
Yeah.
What is it? Can you explain for the listeners?
Well, walking pneumonia is when you have fluid in your lungs, but it's not as serious as like real pneumonia. Anyway, I'm no doctor.
I think that's good. I think that was good.
Yeah, just like it's okay. Walking pneumonia is not super scary. I mean, if you have health challenges, it is. But yeah. So anyway, this is the summer of walking pneumonia and diarrhea.
Okay. So we all need to just be extremely vigilant. Legionnaires is apparently contained to the Upper East Side of New York.
And now it's on the Upper West Side. And it's coming from...
You have friends on the Upper West Side. So
well, it's coming from... I think actually something that you should keep in mind. Once again, we are not doctors. We are not scientists. We are not members of the, infectious disease community.
True.
So this is all coming from your pop culture experts.
Yes.
But... It is found in like the cooling towers, or at least it was found in cooling towers on the Upper East Side. So I think we're these big buildings with these big AC units. But I think...
So I'm in danger here in this...
You're in more danger than maybe people who have like individual AC units in their window.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm glad I'm leaving today.
Yeah, so anyway, you got to get the hell out of Dodge.
I absolutely do. Can I give everyone an update they've all been waiting for? I know you all have been thinking about this and wanting to know how it all went.
Please. I have no idea what you're about to talk about.
So I just want to let everyone know you can finally enjoy your summer. You don't have to have sleepless nights wondering. I did complete my status match with Delta.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I am Delta Medallion Platinum till 2028.
Wow.
And everyone, drum roll, please. In my Instagram.
What are the tiers? Like how many? What's
the only one above me is Delta Diamond. So it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I think my father-in-law is Delta Diamond.
Oh, another flex from Chandler. Anyway, no. So I just want to say I've also converted to the Delta life from JetBlue. So
share more.
It really, like, the status match thing totally worked, and I did transfer to Delta, even though the flight times are more inconvenient. So.
And you don't have anything more to say about how it's a superior airline? Do you miss anything from JetBlue? Do you miss the lighting? Do you miss like the little orange scarves?
I do miss the orange scarves, but I will tell you something that occurred.
What?
When Spirit Airlines went bankrupt,
or were bought,
whatever, they're no more.
Yes.
All of the people who used to fly on Spirit Airlines had to go somewhere.
And they went to JetBlue.
Yeah. On the few flights I took in this new era, I know where they went.
Well, didn't JetBlue like buy a bunch of flights or something?
I don't know what JetBlue did.
Like a bunch of their planes?
It's a rowdier clientele.
Okay. Really? Like you could tell like the energy shifted.
The energy completely shifted.
What's a rowdy flight like?
People like yelling across aisles. People just being generally not decorous.
Yeah.
Which I really need. And like,
I mean, I'm looking at your top right now. You're always in some type of top with some type of like flourish above about from here up. There's some type of flourish, whether it's a popped collar or a scarf, a draping.
As a society and a culture, I believe we're becoming all too casual. We need to increase the formality.
Yeah.
So that we just, behave in a more civilized manner, and that's not happening on JetBlue. Also, I will say, Delta, there's just something different when you can upgrade and you just know you have like a glass of red wine in an actual glass.
Because what were you being served in JetBlue?
Well, JetBlue, I was just in, there's no first class. So
that's right. Business?
No, there's no business,
girl. There was nothing.
There's just even more space.
And then what were you getting your red wine in? A cup? A paper cup?
I'm not really drinking because I don't want
You're drinking.
Very, very rarely, but a plastic cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're an alcoholic.
Exactly. JetBlue actually has a pretty good canned red wine, I'll be so honest. But no, it's a totally different flying experience when you're like, I have a big seat, like I'm going to get a beverage in a glass.
Yeah. There's
a nice lounge I can go to. The terminal is better. It's just psychologically, it's better. And with how often I fly, it's worth it.
It absolutely is worth it. Your travel is extreme and
my fellow passengers are just, they are much more contained as humans.
Well, good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm excited for this journey. Does that, will any perks flow my way?
Yeah,
if I'm flying with you.
I think I can. I think with my new benefits, there's something I can extend to you. Probably like an extra, bag of goldfish.
Like a $10 e-credit or something?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be great.
No, I think I have to get to Diamond to like upgrade my companion.
Yeah.
I don't think that will happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway,
well, congratulations.
I do have another announcement.
Please share. Another upgrade,
No, this has been a downgrade actually in the pop apologist ecosystem.
Oh, I know what you're about to say.
So everyone, I don't really think about or care about our negative reviews anymore. They pop up, they happen, and I think that it's actually just kind of it's a thing that happens once you've hit a certain like scale of listeners and people who come across your podcast. And not everyone is going to be your people.
It's part of doing business.
So I truly actually don't even mind the negative reviews. There's one negative review, however, that has sat at the top of our reviews for the past month, and I believe it was written by our enemy. Now, we do have an enemy, sadly, and I know for a fact this person wrote this review. And
share more about how you know it to be a fact.
Because no one speaks this way.
Okay.
Who's just a normal listener.
Okay.
And I know the way this person speaks.
Okay.
And also, it popped up right after
a certain interaction.
We contended with our enemy.
Yes.
So anyway, I just would love nothing more as just a girl, in business.
As a girl who doesn't care about this at all.
I just want to stop seeing this review that says that this podcast is essentially not worth anyone's time or money and that we're not thoughtful or interesting and we're super unlikable. After I've now pontificated about Delta and wine in an actual glass.
No, that's important. Look, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and cut Lauren off. We'd like to bury this review.
We would.
We'd like to enlist the good people of pop apologists, those who feel so inclined, those who feel like they do actually value our podcast and they do find us to be somewhat thoughtful.
Yeah, and it might be worth some of their time or some of their money. We would love nothing more than if you could please, we don't really ask for reviews anymore, but it's a personal thing I have now. I would like you to please, if you would, leave us a review, and consider it my birthday. I
was just
turned
gonna
26.
Say, a birthday gift.
Please do me a favor, leave us a review.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. It is so helpful when a simple moment can transport your mind somewhere else entirely. The other day, Ben and I were watching a show about climbing, and it was all set in Yosemite. Yosemite is one of my favorite places in the world, and Ben has never been. All I could think about was how I needed to show him this incredible place in California. Booking.com makes the shift from daydream to real plans surprisingly easy. I started searching for hotels, and the options were so clear and organized. What really impressed me was how fast the whole thing came together. In just a few minutes, I was able to compare stays, see real photos and reviews, and book exactly what I was looking for. What makes Booking.com stand out is how it removes the friction from travel planning. Whether it's a spontaneous camping trip or a well-deserved tropical getaway, they help turn that I wish I was there feeling into something real and achievable. Go on, book that trip. It is easy. Booking.com, booking.yeah. Something new might have occurred in my life.
Okay,
but I'm not going to give it all away because we need to talk about the story at hand first, and then you'll understand more, okay?
Okay.
So everybody, I don't know if you saw this People headline. This woman from San Diego ordered a portrait from a psychic. So there was this psychic who would draw her soulmate, who would draw your potential soulmate. And so she ordered a portrait from this psychic just kind of on a whim.
Yeah.
And then she literally meets him like within months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're now engaged.
Yeah.
And I thought this story was quite interesting, and
okay.
I was intrigued when I was like, okay, so the psychic literally drew a picture of the man that walked into your life.
Yeah, for sure.
So, while on a trip with her friends in November of 2024, Ashley Watson and her pals purchased a soulmate drawing from a seller on Etsy. Okay. Mm-hmm. At the time, the Etsy seller told Ashley that in addition to the image she had provided of her potential soulmate, she was also sure that the soulmate would come into Ashley's life quite soon, less than 3 months to be exact. And if you can believe it, Ashley met her now fiance Carson Ballou just 1 week later. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, this story is crazy. I got to see this portrait and I got to see this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we reveal the portrait?
Let's unveil the portrait.
Everybody, this is the picture of the soulmate that she got.
So let's show the doppelganger.
Okay,
the identical gentleman.
The guy who walks into her life.
I mean, it's not... My facial expression was not correct there because this guy is actually quite handsome.
Totally handsome.
Just different. Not the same.
This is a completely different man.
The only thing that's similar is that they're both white men.
With facial hair.
With some facial hair,
The nose is completely different.
It's a standard issue male haircut. The nose is completely different.
The eye, also the eyes and the nose is right here is completely different.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want you to know that I also asked ChatGPT to draw me my soulmate.
Okay. You did. I didn't know
did.
ChatGPT offered that service.
Well, they do. I guess I will just say, everybody, that Ashley is engaged to Carson. All is well. And she thought this was just like the craziest story that they,
It reminds me of when people are really into their sign, like astrology, because it's just kind of like you believe what,
This is worse in my opinion. I like being into my sign, but this is like insane because this portrait is not. This looks like a Disney
Maybe she
character.
has facial blindness,
potentially
undiagnosed.
Also, I do think it's a little odd to be like, I have this portrait and this of this man who was you.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just got into ChatGPT and I said, can you draw a picture of my soulmate?
Okay.
I am already married to my soulmate. Let me just say that to be clear.
Thank you so much.
But what if I have two?
Or
Ben's not the right guy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look at this guy because this is, according to ChatGPT, this is my soulmate.
I mean, I just think that every straight woman thinks that's their soulmate.
No, this is confirmed by the computer to be my soulmate. This is what they came back, first of all, 90 seconds. I didn't say anything else. All I said was, can you draw a picture of my soulmate? This is what I got. Also, it's not crazy far from Ben.
It's so far from Ben.
I mean, I'm just saying facial hair.
That is way further from Ben than the other girls.
All I'm saying is that this is it's not like a blonde guy or something. It's like he has facial hair, darker hair, like big eyebrows. It does not even look like he could be Ben's brother, but I'm just saying it's in the realm of possibility.
I will say that portrait is very much adjacent to one of your biggest crushes ever, Denny Duquette of Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a Denny Duquette for sure, or like an Adam Brody. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so then let's get into what I asked Claude to do the same thing because I was like, well, let's just see.
Yeah, when we're out of water, okay, in 2035, Let's just all remember this moment on Pop Apologist when Chandler, consorted with not only ChatGPT, but also Claude.
And Gemini.
Okay, that's her crew.
Well,
okay.
well, let me just tell you that Claude and Gemini shut me down. They were like, we can't make any psychic revelations. And then I was like, okay, we'll just do it for fun. And do you want to see what Claude gave me just for fun?
I would love to. Okay, that reminds me of Ben. No,
I know. Ben is somewhere between these two guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that. These are not Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not Ben for sure.
So then I also want you to know that I took it a step further because I was intrigued with this whole story, and I did spend $4.82, and I did buy one soulmate.
So is that coming?
Sketch from Etsy?
Is that coming?
It's supposed to have same day delivery, but I have not gotten it yet.
This reminds me of when we were in the thick of the Kate Middleton scandal, and there was a psychic on TikTok who was like predicting, things about her. And I was like, I have to know if the psychic is real. So I hired the psychic to talk to grandma.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, I would just love to get a message from my grandma.
Right.
And anyway, basically she gave me the message, and the message was that she sees you on your floral bedding, and she wants you to know that when you're upset, she's with you and stuff. And I was like, I thought she would be how great is your life going? It was not.
You're kind of a sad sack.
I was riding high at that moment.
Yeah. You thought it was going to be more I'm so proud of you. So glam.
Girl, can't wait to clink, clink in heaven.
Yes.
Over your success.
Right. But it was
I thought it would be
when you're low, which is pretty often.
Lovely. Yeah, I was wait, I know you're depressed. Yes. So anyway, yeah. Also, I saw another girl got the same Etsy person, witch or whatever, to give her a drawing. And also she said her soulmate was coming, and she was it's now 7 months later. Oh God. No one's appeared.
I mean, I don't believe this witch.
Yeah.
I just had to go on this journey myself because I thought it was fun, and it was worth the $4.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well,
and all the water that I wasted.
Yes. Can we talk about Juju Smith-Schuster's wedding?
Yes.
Juju Smith-Schuster's wedding. Taylor Swift attended.
I know. Back in our hometown, or a neighboring hometown.
Mm-hmm. Everyone, Taylor Swift wore a floor-sweeping floral dress and beautiful crap eyewear sunglasses is the brand, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Crap eyewear. It's cute. They have cute stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting name.
She really doesn't like it. She says society should be more refined.
Yeah, if I was starting a sunglass brand, I don't think crap eyewear would be my first idea.
It's just it's edgy.
I'm not.
You're not. And you're not, and that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so at least we have a fresh photo of Taylor since the wedding, since we are, now on day, 8 or 9?
And we'll, are we ever even going to see
I feel like we're on day 12.
It was July 3rd. Today is July
11. We're on day 11.
We're on day 11.
I loved seeing her, enjoying the ceremony. I did feel bad for them because clearly there were drones above the ceremony trying to get footage of Taylor.
I wanted to discuss that. It was paparazzi drones. I don't think this was the wedding videographer drone.
No, definitely not.
This was paparazzi drones, which is really sad and made me feel just a little sick about the animal that, I don't know. It was just of course she couldn't have her wedding outside. Yeah,
and I think that it's really annoying for Juju Smith-Schuster.
I know.
Because this is their
JSS.
special... Yeah, JSS. It's their special moment, and drones are very loud.
Super loud.
They're
I completely agree. I had that exact same thought. I was just how do you invite them to your wedding if this is what could potentially happen? And it's going to be such a distraction.
Too big to hang out. It's really, really tricky, and I think... Honestly, if I'm a bride and I'm inviting Taylor Swift to my wedding, I'm honestly going to probably try to have it inside to avoid this.
Right.
Anyway.
I thought her dress was beautiful.
See, I disagree.
Oh, I liked her dress. I thought it was pretty.
I just don't think we should be spending $4,000 on dresses.
Is that how much it was?
It's a $4,000 dress that looks like it was made out of drapery.
It was also, it's an odd choice for what looked like a very hot wedding.
Yeah, and...
Looked like I can feel the undercarriage being so hot in
so
that dress.
Hot, and also you cannot dance in a strapless, floor-length, A-line, almost ball gown princess dress.
Yeah,
you can't dance in that.
I thought the material was pretty, and I mean
the print and color were pretty, but they were giving drapes. They were giving
yeah, I don't mind that thicker fabric though. I don't mind that look personally. I think it looked really glamorous next to a lot of the Revolve-looking dresses.
Yeah,
sure. That were there as well. I thought she looked happy.
Yeah, she did.
Travis was cute next to her. You could see her, I don't know, in all these sick drone shots. I say sick as grosses me out that this is, what we're dissecting.
Mm-hmm.
But, she was like reacting to like the ceremony or to the vows or whatever, standing there talking to friends at like the dinner. She looked really happy and like she was very in the moment.
She absolutely did. And hopefully it was not that disruptive and this was just a brief part of the wedding.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. Can you literally can you ban drones? Like, is that possible?
And I just don't know how you control the airspace above you.
I don't know either, but I feel like there needs to be legislation.
Yeah. Well, that could be part of your platform when you eventually run.
Did it make you feel a little tingly that she was like 10 minutes from our house?
Yes. Well, so our home in California is in Orange County. Mm-hmm. She was in the Laguna Niguel Ritz-Carlton. So
you went to Niguel Hills Middle School.
So I was going to tell you, we should fly home for the weekend and like just try to hit the Ritz-Carlton.
Wait, you should share some stories about when you would go to the Ritz-Carlton bar.
Okay. And?
And just see what gentlemen were there.
I, first of all, never did that. I never went to the Ritz-Carlton bar to see.
Okay, well, what bar did you go to?
What you're referring to is I did one time go to the Water Grill in Costa Mesa across from South Coast Plaza, which is a shopping center with many beautiful stores. And I got a drink and I just made an attempt to try to, meet someone. Okay, I was trying to get myself out there, not just rely on Tinder and Hinge. And I did get approached. And what I realized is generally if you arrive at a bar alone, you're just not going to get approached by who you want to get approached by.
Yeah.
So,
well, nonetheless, we have been to that Ritz-Carlton.
I will say going to the Ritz-Carlton to try to meet men is just giving
hooker.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Which I did not engage in. As a young woman.
Yeah, no, I just feel like you kind of did the Orange County dating circuit.
Okay. Let's move on. I never really had a time when I dated glamorous men like that at all. All my exes, all the guys I dated were wilderness guys.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Leave it at that.
My first date with my husband, he wanted to meet at the Montage. And this was at a time in my life when I was considerably more chill and just granola. And I was like, red flag. He's probably going to be a finance bro. So.
Wow. Red flag. And look at her now. They're draping shirt. That is very cute. Actually, speaking of adventurous guys, this is not going to be a huge detour, everybody. But I want to do a deep dive on alpine divorces and some of these crazy cases where these outdoor hikes have gone horribly wrong. So if you know of any cases that you're fascinated by that we should cover in this deep dive, send them our way.
Yeah. There's a lot I want to say about that, but I'm going to save it for that episode.
Yes. Okay.
Let's proceed.
Another huge bit of news, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for your patience as we got to the meat of the episode. We really buried the lead.
We really did. Let's all take a minute. Let's hold space for the fact that Bethenny Frankel has ended her Just Be podcast.
Yeah, she announced on TikTok. Should we watch the video?
Let's play it.
Okay.
That none of the internet.
Oh, the video's unavailable. It's because we're blocked. I must have watched it on my computer. Can you pull it up?
Yeah, I sure can, baby.
So I forgot to tell you that I stopped recording my podcast. So I called iHeart and asked them if I could get out of my contract. Now, they have been incredible partners. Honestly, they've let me do my thing. They've been great. The podcast started out with guests, and I rated exactly the same if I was talking to Matthew McConaughey or Hillary Clinton as I did if I was talking about French fries. And while it was great to have a place to talk about divorce and death and experiences, I found it shackling. I found it the way that I found doing a talk show. You're directing traffic. I didn't like reading ads. I like to be in the wild. I like to be talking about business.
I love that she's like, I like to be in the wild. I like to be talking about business. Because I guess you can't talk about business on a podcast.
No, we haven't even gotten to the best part yet. One of my favorite parts where she says, I want to be doing public appearances.
Well, also it's so funny when she's like, I just found it to be shackling. It's like.
It's a job.
It is a job. It absolutely is.
I just didn't like every day, okay, you got to sit down and record the podcast. And then you sit in the chair and you put the headphones on. And I used to push for video. And I was told that the video doesn't really move the needle.
No one told her that. I'm sorry, no one told her that.
Or maybe someone told her that 5, 8 years ago.
Maybe 10 years ago. It has been, everyone has known for many, many, many years that if you want to be attempting this career, if you're not on video, you're dead.
Yes. And also, I just don't believe that, somebody said don't do video and then she was like, all right, fine, I won't do it.
Right.
Like, she's the shark.
Right, completely. It's such a good point.
On social about a podcast, I feel like I've watched it, but I just watched the clip. It doesn't make me go listen to the podcast, and I've never been a podcast listener. So
I think that's kind of bad to admit.
No, it's absolutely bad to admit because it's like saying, I am no longer writing, my book, and I just don't really read books. And it's like, okay, so if you don't read books, then you probably shouldn't be trying to be an author.
Well, especially when you go on to say, like, I was getting paid way too much to write this book.
So I like the time in my day back. And
yeah, girl.
Just shout out, because iHeart was amazing, and I left a lot of money on the table.
Of course.
Honestly, I think more than I even deserve to be paid, because I know what other people get paid, and I was
walks by.
definitely moving a lot of product with ads. I was good with ads and integrations into my podcast, but I just didn't want to do it. And again, more room for people that are excellent at it.
I appreciate.
And iHeart, love you guys, and you were amazing and patient, because I cancel nothing, I'm late for nothing, and I would,
Except she canceled this.
every day, be sort of dragging ass. And I just didn't love doing it. But I love you guys, and I love being here. More time to talk about chicken salad.
At least she is actually being real, because what she's basically saying is like, I just didn't want to do it.
This was a lot of work that I didn't really want to do.
Yeah. I wish she could be a little bit more real in terms of saying, like, I didn't be, when she first started her podcast, she was like, watch out, Joe Rogan, #1. Her podcast did become #1 for 2 seconds, but the way the Apple like ranks podcasts, it's if you have a lot of downloads at the beginning, it's super easy to become #1 for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Because it part of the formula is like how long your podcast has been around relative to the downloads. So anyway, she was gloating to high heaven about how she was going to, like, she was coming for Joe Rogan's seat.
Yeah.
And so I think that part of me is just like, I'd love it if you could just be like, you know what, it just honestly didn't hit. And I just didn't want to do it anymore.
No. Of course. Like, everybody, wake up. Bethenny Frankel would not walk away from something that was crushing.
No,
if something
never.
was killing it, crushing, we would know about it, okay? We would hear about it from her. She would be basking in it. She would talk about how, she's totally changed the podcast market forever because of the she's come up with the Bethenny effect in podcasting. Like, we would hear about it. If she was like, if it was really successful.
Have you ever noticed that podcasters are doing this?
Yes.
Well,
I told them to do that.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
We've been doing it, and all of a sudden everyone follows suit.
I think she really should have a subscriber only type of feed.
I'd subscribe.
Oh, no, that's what I wrote that down. I was like, I think where she could be even more unfiltered, because she's pretty unfiltered. But I think if she could be like unbelievably unfiltered.
She's not even unfiltered with herself, though. I'm sure she's told herself she doesn't want to be shackled, and she's not even, because I do think Bethenny Frankel she's entertaining. She's lovely. Like, I do like her. I just think she is a low key, a little bit of a narcissist. And I don't think that she would admit it to herself that, like, she's quitting because it wasn't successful enough.
Oh, yeah, of course not. But I'm just...
So I don't think she would, on a subscriber like feed, be like, you guys,
it
didn't do well.
I don't think she would ever say that out loud publicly, of course. I'm just saying I would like that product from her. I'm like, okay, if you want to like make money in a different way, I think you should have some type of subscriber feed where you can, I want to be on Bethenny's close friends. Yeah. That's literally what I want. I want to be watching her face this close. Like, I want her face to be this close to the camera. I want to be watching it.
Do you though?
No, I do. It's balm for me in some ways. Like, I don't know. I like it.
The slop is balm for you?
The slop is balm for me. Okay. The other thing I take issue with.
Yeah.
I appreciate her talking about how it's a lot of work, because it is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
But I just don't totally get the fact that she doesn't want to do it, because she somehow finds that releasing 8 to 10 videos, front-facing videos a day is like easier than a podcast.
Right.
That really doesn't compute for me.
Did you ever listen to any of her podcast episodes?
Of course.
Okay. So I felt like when she was talking about her divorce, it was quite interesting, but a lot of them had this like manic, all over the place, crazy, chaotic energy. They just weren't good.
Maybe it wasn't the format for her to just be like stream of consciousness. I think too, like, no, I don't really want to hear her interview guests. Right. Like, I do want to hear her talk about chicken salad.
I think
that's about it.
I think the tricky thing is, like, it's one thing to be able to talk about something for 60 seconds on a clip. It's another thing to be able to, especially as a solo person, be able to create 30-minute or hour-long, episodes on things or shows on things every week or multiple times a week. It's just a tremendous amount of work, and it's a different skill set. And if you're not passionate about the medium, then it's hard to imagine you're going to be good at it. Because I think you have to actually genuinely love podcasts. Like we love podcasts.
Yeah.
We listen to some religiously. We have for over a decade. We love podcasts. And if that's not part of your life, then I just don't see you being good at it.
I also think that she's the type of person where she wants to hear like a tidbit about something and then she wants to give her knee-jerk opinion and reaction to it. And like,
she wants
mic drop.
Your feedback immediately. She doesn't want that to be buried in like an hour-long thing.
No, and I don't think she wants to like sit there, do the research for something, then be the person delivering it in like a non-biased way and then giving a take about it. Like I think she wants to be like, she wants it to be faster.
Yeah, and also like podcasting when you're 6 years in is very different than podcasting at 12 months in, right? Like you just have, when you're first starting, you have so many stories to tell. Everything just feels so much fresher because you're just starting out and you just haven't like kind of run through all the hilarious moments of your life or like funny family tales that you can provide for people, right?
Yeah.
And also you just, you haven't heard yourself speak for that long. So anyway, I just can understand how anyone who doesn't need to do it, when they hit like a very long tenure doing it, I think you have to do it ultimately for the love of it.
Yeah, 100%. Or if like your other ventures aren't, like if it's like one of your biggest moneymakers, which I just feel like her other ventures, I mean, according to her, are a lot bigger.
Are crushing
fish.
it. Yeah, $20 million a year.
Yeah. Okay, well, we send love and light to Bethenny even though we're blocked.
Do. I mean,
behind our blocked wall, we send that.
I did want to talk about this really briefly.
Yeah.
Are you listening to any iHeart podcasts these days?
What's an iHeart podcast?
Like Between Us with Heather and Terry. You know,
no,
one of my
I'm not
faves.
listening. I'm not catching it.
Okay. So iHeart podcasts, they have a ratio, I would say, of ads to regular, of just like actual content, like 1-to-1 maybe. So you listen to 3 to 4 minutes of conversation and then it's like the sound effect. And all of a sudden you have a crazy amount of ads to skip through. It's like the enshittification of podcasting.
Wow.
The quality is so bad. It's hard to even describe. It's almost like,
it's like you're like almost like you're listening to the radio or something, or worse.
The only way I can describe it is if you're watching QVC and then it breaks to ads. It's just so addy.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so what we have been told is that the podcasting industry as a whole might be moving in that direction where, you know, basically they're going to try to jam as many ads in as possible to, you know, pump the numbers up, because like when networks do this, they sell ads for cheaper.
Yeah.
And so then brands might just try to go to the networks where they can get the cheapest amount of
rate,
impressions, even if it means the quality of the shows go down.
Right.
And what I love about Podcast One is they are like committed to the opposite. They're committed to the listener experience. We have like a very reasonable amount of ads. We have no negative reviews about ads that say they have too many ads. I've never received a DM like that.
Yeah.
And it's like something I take such pride in. And I think before, we would never let that happen to our show. If anything, we would probably just like go subscriber only.
Yeah.
Like before we did that, we'd be like, all right, you get like everyone gets 20 minutes of the episode for free, and then everything is for subscribers.
Have you noticed? Do you feel like we have less ads than other podcasts?
Yeah, totally. Like,
really?
Yeah. I mean, if we're just really getting into it, I think that there's another podcast network that is probably like the most female-dominated podcast network. I think they have like probably double the amount of ads we do.
It's crazy.
And we really try to have like maybe 2, maybe 3 ad breaks. And if we have 3 ad breaks, we try to have that episode be like an hour and 15 minutes. We just try to keep it paced really well for people.
Yeah, because it really does disrupt the whole experience. And you're like, I feel like I'm constantly having to go back to my phone to like, you know, skip through or like.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't like when you start an episode and there's an ad. So our contract is coming up for renewal, and I want to like basically say like we don't want any pre-rolls. I think that the episode should start with the host voice always.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm passionate about it.
No, it's a good thing to be passionate about. And I think it really makes a huge difference if like people feel annoyed by listening, you know, and it's like it's so hard to get to the actual content.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about the Tom Sandoval news.
Yes.
Do you have a business idea but feel stuck on how to turn it into reality? Shopify makes it straightforward to bring your vision to life. Everything you need to start selling is included and ready from day one.
Shopify not only simplifies selling for you, but also makes buying effortless for your customers. Their platform powers millions of businesses worldwide, and their Shop Pay button, that familiar purple option at checkout, lets customers complete purchases with one tap. Details are saved so returning buyers can check out quickly and smoothly. We set up a Shopify website for the show when we were selling merch, and it was such an easy, simple process. It was basically effortless. Their user experience is so superior. And then when I'm personally shopping online, I'm so much more likely to actually purchase if the website is powered by Shopify because it's just such a simple, easy process. I think Shopify is the only way to go in 2026. Shopify handles inventory, payments, and analytics in one place while offering helpful AI tools, marketing options, and 24/7 support. This allows business owners to spend less time on setup and more time building and growing their brand. With Shopify, nothing stands between your idea and a real business. So go make it one. Start your free trial at shopify.com/apologist.
Okay, everyone. So Victoria Lee Robinson, if you can remember, this is Tom Sandoval's new girlfriend after Ariana. She broke her silence over the Tom Sandoval Restraining Order. And so Tom Sandoval got a restraining order against Victoria Lee after this video came out of an altercation in their home. Okay?
Yes. Which we all saw the video footage, or at least that one little snippet where like her dad falls over this fire pit.
Which we're going to get into.
Yes.
We have not talked about it yet on the show. So this is what she says. She says, "This is my home. We are both on the lease. I paid for the first month's rent and deposit, surprised him with the keys, and virtually every item in it is mine. I filed my own legal action because I have my own account of what happened. I cannot allow a false narrative to control my future." So Tom Sandoval, he said in a statement, he said that Will, her father, grabbed my arms and shoulders and wrapped his arms around me. Feeling trapped and violated, I pushed him away from me in order to protect myself and create distance, which caused him to fall. This is what he wrote to the court, not in a statement. Will was the first person to put his hands on me. At no point did I pursue Will. So did you watch the footage?
I did.
I did as well. What did you see happen? It's very clear to me what happened.
Well, I think what happens in the 2 to 3 minutes before we even see like this fall is very telling.
Mm-hmm.
We see Tom Sandoval extremely mad and erratic a little bit, like he's walking in and out of this door.
He's flailing
his energy
his
is a 10, and their energy, like they're sitting down talking.
The dad's energy is like, I'm trying to be reasonable with you. This is what has occurred. Tom, meanwhile, he is giving reality star. He is literally pacing, just
slamming the door,
his arms wildly, clearly in a rage.
Mm-hmm.
So then he figures out that he sees that Victoria is recording him.
Yes.
And he like goes at Victoria, and her dad like goes to protect her.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom literally, this is what I saw. Tom pushes the dad into that fire pit with a fire.
Pushes him back.
He pushes him back
into the fire.
Yeah. Like, it did not seem in any way like the dad, Will, I guess is his name, like was the pursuer of Tom.
Also, the push was strong enough. The dad literally like topples over, like his like legs go over his like he like what is it?
I think he realized he's fallen straight onto a fire, and then he like brings his legs up to try to just get off as quick as possible. It's so scary.
It was really scary. Also, Tom is very aggressive in this video. His energy is scary. Mm-hmm. If I was her dad, I would not want to leave that situation.
No.
Yeah.
And I would want to protect my daughter when her clearly erratic, raging boyfriend is in her face.
Also, we don't know what this fight was about. Like, it's very odd because they're talking about what this woman Evelyn has said.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're like getting so enraged about, but it's really the fact that she's recording him that sets him off.
Well, and I just was thinking, like, I mean, I've never had a fight like this with anyone in my family, let alone my in-law.
Mm-hmm. I know. But Tom claims that he was also the subject of emotional, verbal, and physical abuse.
That is his claim.
He has like a photo where he appears to have some type of like kind of fading yellow bruise and a scratch.
I just think that we can literally see this video. We can watch as her father is not pursuing Tom whatsoever, and Tom is the first one to touch him and to push him into the fire. So I literally cannot trust a word he says.
Yeah.
And he's clearly a narcissistic liar.
I mean, I also just think if you're in a situation that's getting far too heated, it is on you to leave, to extract yourself from the situation, to leave. Even if someone's recording you, even if like someone is like provoking you in a way where that's making you more mad. Leave the situation.
He just didn't even touch him first. But if you feel like you are the one getting like provoked, it's not the moment to then push that person into a fire.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I will say the way that this has played out, it just must feel, I'm sure Ariana's not loving this, but on some level it must feel like pretty good for her that, everyone is, Tom's life continues to be just a complete dumpster fire, and it's not about who he's with. It's just about him.
Right. It's just about his behavior.
Yeah.
It's really sad. I mean, we've been with these people for years now, watching them on BPR, watching them through all the different scandals. It's very clear that some of them are just going to kind of be trash forever.
Yeah. Like they're not turning it on for the cameras.
Because they are just, yeah.
Well, should we move on to another meeting with a father-in-law?
Yes, please.
Okay, so King Charles, everyone welcomed Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to his home at Highgrove.
You said in the last few episodes, I can't remember, maybe we didn't leave it in, but you said...
No, we did.
I don't remember. I don't know a grandfather who hasn't met his grandkids.
I'm only seeing one man in his 70s who's making no attempt to see his grandchildren again.
Yes. I thought you were kind of saying that he had never met them.
No. He has met them. He just hasn't seen them in 4 years.
Yes. 4 years.
So anyway, clearly King Charles... Hello, you clearly are a pop apostle and a global elite. I believe it was a global elite episode. Crazy. But he heard my words.
He did.
And he invited Meghan Markle, their children, and Prince Harry to Highgrove for a visit.
Queen Camilla was there as well.
Queen Camilla was there.
Queen Consort?
Yes. Well, I believe it's just Queen Camilla now.
Oh, love it.
So we apparently will get no photos. They want no details of this to be, distributed at all.
Yes, I read that he was very explicit about the fact that this was going to be extremely private. There was going to be no photos of it and then no talking about it with the media.
So we will probably get no details on this meeting.
Yes.
I do have many thoughts on it. I mean, I'm trying to think where to even begin. It is interesting to consider, like, the idea of Meghan curtsying to to King Charles and to Camilla.
And, like, is this an hour? Or is this a full day? Like, what does this look? What is the?
No, it's
what is the itinerary?
I think it's maybe 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, because these people hate each other. So you think that they're like breaking bread. You think that they're like toasting marshmallows and making s'mores. They're pouring out their feelings.
I think they're trying to create new memories.
You think Camilla and Meghan are making a roast chicken together?
No, maybe it's like not that. But like, let's spend a day together in private.
It's a very stiff meeting in the drawing room. There's a curtsy, there's a hello, there's like a patting of the head of the children, and it's a little bit of like an olive branch. First time looking at each other in the flesh since, the Oprah, Are You Silent or Silenced interview.
So if that's the case, why can't we get a photo or two? I think it would be nice to just see that, like, that an olive branch was extended and that these people are at least like face to face with each other and exchanging some nice glances.
Well,
and pleasantries. Like I don't understand. I mean, I do, but I do understand that they want everything to be private, but I also think it would make me like King Charles more.
So I think that...
Is it because of the British public?
No, I think it's less that, and I just feel like King Charles probably feels like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have used their royal status and royal adjacency as currency so much that he's not really going to give them any more content at the moment. Like, he doesn't want to give them more fodder. He doesn't want to give them that picture. I guess Highgrove is a very private residence. Like, there's just no ability for people to get photos.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to Buckingham Palace, where people going in and out, it's like easier for photographers to catch that. And so people are saying that he had it at Highgrove for that reason. Like, he wanted it to be extremely private. And I think also if you're telling your son, hey, like, if a detail of this gets out, like, you already have betrayed me.
Yeah.
Any detail of this, like, it's probably a loyalty test on some level.
Interesting. I don't know. Wouldn't it make you like Charles more if you saw pictures of it? If you heard that it was like, that you just heard that there was a meeting and that it was positive?
Yeah, I mean, I just think he's already...
It could be a good press story for everybody.
He's achieved that, though, with
just having this meeting.
Yeah.
Got it.
And on some level, it actually makes me respect him more because it's saying, I'm not trying to actually boost my PR with this that much. It's actually about the family relationship and making the peace.
I also think that... I don't know. I think the British people just really don't like Harry and Meghan anymore.
Exactly.
And it's like they would be maybe upset if he was just extending open arms to them.
They don't want those photos. And they're especially going to be pissed that Meghan gets them.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about their financial situation and what you think just the future holds for them.
It's dire.
I think it's dire too. Apparently, they have 2 mortgages on their
house?
Their house in
How did you
Montecito.
find that out?
I just read it somewhere. And what I think that reveals is one of 2 things. One, they could have great investments, because that's a lot of people use mortgages as a vehicle to be able to put their capital into investments that are going to outpace real estate, which most do, right? So that could make total sense. Or they basically used that debt to fund their lifestyle. We just don't know. And if it's the latter, it makes me wonder if there's now going to be a real effort to try to get back in the fold.
Yeah, I mean, now with this new cost of this trial that, of the case that he lost, where they have to pay the legal fees, things do not look good in that realm.
Yeah, and I really wonder, there's always the splashy headlines of how much the deal was with Netflix or Spotify or all that, because they want to announce that.
Of course.
But then the actual terms are always so much lower, and it's always paid out based on the success metrics, and it's over several years. I mean, all their projects have been canceled. Nothing was really successful except for the documentary about them leaving the royal family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So how much could they have actually made is my question.
Yeah, I mean,
how much have they already ran through?
We see how celebrities run through their money.
Yeah.
All the time. I think that the next move from them will be very telling.
Yeah.
Because they need to kind of seek out more financial security, whether that is through another book, another tell-all, or whether that is trying to, get back in the good graces of the palace.
But the thing is ultimately, they don't need to get back in the good graces of King Charles. They need to get back in the good graces
of William
and Catherine, who, by the way, during this weekend,
they were gone.
Not only were they gone, but they were out. They were at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
They were constantly seen. And
very much so not there.
Royal watchers would say that's on purpose. That is to distract. That is to
show that what's more important for us to be at this sporting match than to be with the family during this moment.
Not only that, but just to eclipse any sort of coverage of Meghan and Harry.
Right.
So I just highly, highly doubt we're going to see that. William and Harry.
So then we're going to get another book.
Get better. I mean, we're certainly going to get something.
We're going to get something.
And it's not going to be jam.
It's not going to be preserves fruit spread.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
Everybody, we got a brand new premiere episode of Real Housewives of Orange County.
Before we move to that, I have a very important letter I need to read.
Okay.
So everyone, we did receive a letter, and I want to read it to you.
Okay.
This came in via email before we talk about Orange County. Woo. But this is from a listener named Janice. Janice wrote in, she said, "Ladies, I'm writing this email quickly as I have a busy work day, but I have to get this off my chest. Let me preface this by saying I'm a huge fan and global elite listener. I might even be a super fan." Thank you, Janice. "As an avid listener, I've noticed many instances of y'all observing some unbecoming behavior by Miss Taylor Swift, but then still professing your undying love. I really love this about you. I think it's great you can be a mega fan of Taylor and still acknowledge that she has her faults. But I also feel like I've heard you say numerous times something to the effect of, maybe she's not who we think she was. I'm here to say that she is not. She is not the person you think she is. It might be time to admit that even though her music is amazing, she can be annoying and petty. Some examples that have come up on your podcast. 1, numerous friendship breakups. Most recently, this seems to include Lana Del Rey. Also, who does a duet with someone and then completely cuts out their voice out of the recording? Related to number 1, her super cringy moment of pulling Lana on stage to accept the Grammy.
Yeah.
Number 3, the text exchange between her and Blake. Blake's texts were bizarrely sycophantic, and it seemed like Taylor was A-okay with that being their friendship dynamic. Number 4, writing a song called Thank You, Amy about Kim Kardashian, nearly 15 years after their initial beef. Number 5, bragging that she never took a night off from the Eras Tour, even the night she had the stomach flu, which, as Lauren pointed out, it's just not possible. What Lauren didn't point out is that it is an annoying thing to say.
Yeah, true.
Number 6, last but not least, the wedding. Not even the stylistic choices, but just the nature of inviting any and every celebrity she's ever met. I fully understand that you might not want to come out to say this for fear of being canceled by the Swifties. If that's the case, then such is life. But if that's not the case, I just wanted to give you my 2 cents that it might actually be time to face the reality about Taylor. Much love, Janice. So I figured I'd let you respond.
Janice really threw the book at us with our own words, and she makes 5, 6, 7, 8 points.
There were 6 pieces of evidence.
Janice, I want you to know that cracks are forming.
It's Taylor's wedding the moment when we leave the cave.
I feel like I have 1 foot out. And I almost want to go say, like, you know, like we do love her.
Like what?
Well, I feel like every time if I say I'm halfway out or anything like that, I feel like I have to instantly follow it up with like, I'll always love her. And that's what's truly sick about this. I cannot unsee what I have seen.
Oh my
I
gosh.
cannot be unburdened by what has been. Is that the expression?
Is it too soon for that?
With Kamala?
I don't know.
It's not.
Okay.
So I want you to know, Janice, that the cracks are forming to the point where our little sister said to our mom that I am losing my testimony.
Yeah, I definitely think you are, or it's in process.
I
Your
just
shelf is
think
breaking.
the headspace that I am in now feels extremely different from the headspace that I was in 2022. And I wish I could go back to 2022.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
I think that it's tough because, you know, the wedding has truly revealed, I think, the fact that her celebrity is not something that in any way she does not want.
She runs directly into it.
She's the ultimate celebrity,
Yes,
right?
and
she wants to be the number 1 pop star in the world. Like that is, it's like what Lana Del Rey said. Did you ever see that interview? Like there was this interview that went around on TikTok for forever, and it was Lana, and she was saying, you know, Taylor's told me this is what she's always wanted.
Yes.
And she's worked so hard, and so she's getting what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want is to be here in Alabama, and that's where I am.
Yeah.
Like this quote or this clip went on for forever.
I know what you're talking about.
And you know, we've actually heard from like a few sources or people that knew Taylor in high school that she literally said, I want to be the number 1. Like she was from the beginning wanting to be the number 1 celebrity.
I think she wanted to be
Or artist. Performer.
I think that's the issue. We have seen, I think, a crossover from artist to full celebrity, and that has made me fall out of love with her.
Yeah, I think that there's a capitalistic nature to everything she does, and maybe it seems like there's a interest in the numbers versus the legacy that can provide conflict. Maybe the difference, honestly, is like I just am not that turned off by the ambition.
This is not about the Target Deluxe singles because
Okay.
I already know about those. For me, it all rests on the fact that on her wedding day, the most meaningful day of her life, she leaned all the way into being a celebrity.
If I'm struggling with anything, it's not the Lana Del Rey. It's not the Thank You, Amy. You know,
Is it the wedding?
it's the wedding aesthetics. The wedding aesthetics are what trouble me the most.
And I guess,
What we have seen has been so difficult for my eyes to behold.
but that was not a surprise necessarily. I mean, it was surprising, but that was not a surprise because we knew the taste. We knew what she liked way before this. I mean, we'd lovingly teased her about this for years before this, about the style in her home and, you know,
yeah,
the hat in the folklore documentary.
that's true.
That was not a surprise. What was a surprise was her leaning all the way into being a celebrity on July 3rd, 2026.
Yeah. And I think that ultimately, Janice, my response is that for me, unless she does something that actually like hurts another person, I'm serious.
Unless she goes to federal prison.
Like unless she like kills someone in the street, I'm like gonna be staying a super fan. Her leaning all the way into being a celebrity, that's kind of like what it takes to be at her level. And it's just not that off-putting to me. Like ultimately, like it's okay that she didn't have a garden intimate wedding, like that she didn't just, you know, that she didn't make the choices we want her to make. That's fine with me. Like it actually like takes some level these sort of tendencies to get to where she has gotten.
Yeah, I just
Like this is the same girl who gave so much money to all the people working on her tour, who wrote them all handwritten letters with wax seals that she did herself. Like I think there are for every part of her that maybe people find to be off-putting, I think there's like an equally super charming part of her. And I don't know, I'm staying where I am.
I think that I just really bought into the folklore evermore version of Taylor Swift. And it has felt like we have not seen that side of her or that version of her in a very long time. I believe she's a good person. I believe she's like wonderful and good to the people who work for her and generous. But I think I live and died a little bit for the folklore version of her.
That's what I want to say. I feel like a lot of us become who we date. Okay? A lot of people become who they date. Just like when I was dating those granola mountaineer guys, I was climbing every weekend, you know, and whatever, hiking. And I think that she ultimately is with now a guy who loves being a celebrity and chases that. And I do think that you cannot say that isn't impacting her choices.
Oh, of course. No, I definitely think that's a part of this.
And sometimes you like meet people and they enable qualities in you that you have, but they exacerbate them. And, you know, they maybe like dim others.
Yeah, I just think those qualities are less aspirational to me. And those qualities make me feel like
less connected to her.
Less connected and less like I relate to her.
Yeah.
I don't relate to her in a lot of ways. I feel like
after the wedding. Okay, question for you. If we get the photos and her wedding dress is exquisite and however they did the inside of MSG actually looks beautiful, will that change things?
No, because like I will just be like so happy that her taste actually landed better and that it was more visually pleasing.
Couldn't you just be like, okay, and so she wanted it to be super secure and she didn't want to have to like cull the invite list?
No. Like I just the Adam Sandler marrying them, the walking down the aisle to her own song.
Okay.
Is just really hard for me to like fully stomach as like I just can't be as like in love with this person anymore.
Yeah.
So Janice, you've opened up another can of worms. We thought we were going to get away from the wedding on this episode, but we sure haven't. We sure didn't.
Not. Yeah, we are on wedding watch though still for these photos. Should they ever come?
I know.
I mean, she has to for Dior, right? Like Dior said they'll share after she shares.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. So let's move on though.
Okay. Doing laundry is not my favorite chore, but the one part of it that I actually do look forward to is when I pull laundry out of the dryer and it's fresh and clean and I'm enveloped in a lovely scent. This is why I love Laundry Sauce. They create premium scented pods using fine fragrances from top perfumers. They have gorgeous scents like Australian sandalwood, Italian bergamot, and the new Brazilian vanilla that's noticeable from wash to wear. I love the Himalayan cashmere scent. It's soft, it's cozy, it's comforting. It's just a really, really subtle, beautiful scent. I also love the Siberian pine. It's crisp, clean, woodsy. It's just such a fresh, beautiful scent when I pull on clean clothes. The highly concentrated pods from Laundry Sauce contain powerful bioenzymes that effectively tackle food and muddy stains while remaining gentle on fabrics. 90% of customers now actually enjoy laundry days because of Laundry Sauce. Turn your least favorite chore into a self-care ritual. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code POPAPOLOGIST at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code POPAPOLOGIST. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. It's time to make laundry day the best day of the week.
Everyone, we were graced with a brand new episode of Real Housewives of Orange County, a premiere episode. These ladies are back on our screen.
Yes.
We've got the OG of the OC. We've got Vicki Gunvalson back in 4K.
Yeah. I will say, as I'm watching this show, I'm admiring Vicki Gunvalson and all of these wonderful cast members. I'm also questioning my eyesight. Whatever like extreme haze Paris filter they are using, it's specific to Orange County. Like, have you noticed this?
No, I mean, I know what you're talking about in the Kardashians.
Okay. So they have put lenses over those cameras and it is just like so hazy sometimes because of all the filtering.
Yes.
It's a little hard to watch. But anyway, Real Housewives of Orange County, I think it's a good summer series.
It's a good summer series. I know these women. I love these women. I love all of them. You know, I want to see the inside of the, you know, these tract homes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's easy for me to watch.
It's not a Beverly Hills. It's not a New York. But you know what? It's easy watching and it's good for summer when life is already like a little bit more pleasurable. Like we need Beverly Hills in winter.
And honestly, I love the Vicki-isms. I love how she misuses the word, how she keeps saying she's going to have to get both of her knees decapitated instead of amputated. I'm into it. I will tell you what's really one note to me, what's got to end, if it's a shtick, which I believe it's a shtick, it's Shannon's like, oh, her like falling on the beach. That felt so
yeah.
staged to me.
Yeah.
I think she is trying to kind of play into this, like, I'm really old and fumbling around. And it's just feeling a bit much.
Speaking of Shannon.
Yes.
Tamra, I guess, went after her at a taping or a filming for
Ultimate Girls Trip. They were at the Quiet Woman.
Yes. And I guess Tamra said to Shannon, "You're a mess. You can't find a man. You don't even own a house."
Yes.
I'd like to discuss this.
Yeah. It's another zinger from Tamra.
Judge.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I really think that there's a way as a housewife to kind of come at someone. It's just in a way that's like not super serious, right? Like saying, what am I jealous of? Your ugly leather pants, a la Sutton Stracke. That's a perfect housewife attack.
Even when Emily said to Jenn, she said, why don't you sell that Rolex and pay off some of your debt?
Right.
Just doesn't feel quite as below the belt.
I mean, the Rolex to pay for your debt is definitely like getting at a real truth.
Yes.
More so than the ugly leather pants. But it's not striking. It's not saying, you know what, I want to be a sniper for this person's biggest insecurities.
Yes.
And that to me, there's like a level of malevolence and evil that I don't want on my screen. It's disgusting.
I'm so over Tamra Judge.
I know.
She makes me feel sick inside.
She gets us all in the mud and
full mud. And she just kind of
says
says
like made out of explosive diarrhea.
And I've been watching her apologize and say, or not even apologize, but her saying, yeah, that was me getting mad and I wouldn't do it again. It's like, no, you will.
No,
you will.
You 100% will.
So I thought those comments were atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when, like, I don't know. You just have seen what Shannon has been through in terms of men.
And there's just no empathy. There's just zero empathy for this woman who is in her 60s and financially, is not that secure potentially. And also is lonely. Like, you're going to come after those things.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. So then I guess Shannon said, you're a drunk, blah, blah, blah. And they got into it. And that, and then Heather talks about how this, they really went pretty dark during this taping.
Yeah, and Heather says it affects all of us, and it affects the viewers.
Yes.
About to say
because
listeners.
I think it's just like, I don't know, if Ben walks out and that's what I'm watching.
No, exactly.
It's not a good reflection on me.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not.
It's not, as Mom would say, is this edifying or uplifting?
Exactly.
And neither of those things. So anyway, I'm ready to be done with Tamra. But of course she's here and I will be watching. But we were done last season and she's here. I want to talk about Vicki's boyfriend of 4 years, Michael.
Yes, Michael.
I did not realize she'd been with this lovely man for this long.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that she has just been in this great relationship. I'm so into the Puerto Vallarta Vicki and I'm sitting on the beach. This is what I do all the time. Like and her taking her Zoom calls. Like I'm into it. I like, a part of my soul is Vicki's soul.
Mexico Vicki looks good.
She looks good.
Puerto
And it's
Vallarta looks good on her.
I don't know. There's just something about her. Like, she does just love to have her toes in the sand and a margarita at Auntelace. And she's a simple woman.
She is a simple woman. And I find the fact that she has found ostensibly a very charming, lovely man after dating the likes of Brooks, cancer faking Brooks, and then Steve Lodge, who ended up getting married to a 37-year-old. Okay. After dumping her. I just find this to be a lovely outcome.
I'm laughing because
what?
I agree, completely agree. It's a lovely outcome.
And he ran for governor, remember that?
Oh, yes, that's right. No, I think the fact that he also seems kind of geriatric. Like, there's something about her, I'm like, I just feel like this is appropriate.
Yeah. And okay, can I also
He does
tell
not
you
seem like a gross guy.
what's a green flag to me?
Yeah.
The fact that he's not trying to marry her. I actually think the fact, like, when you're in the winter of your life.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, if the guy's not trying to fully be legally attached to the woman with money, it's on some level like a green flag.
Yeah. It's really more about the partnership.
Yeah,
and
totally.
just like the companionship.
At that point in your life, like,
Vicki's not that old.
Vicki's in her 60s.
Yeah, she's like 64, but yeah, I don't think, to me, that's not like that old.
Yeah, I mean, it's I would say 60s is like the young decade of your older years.
Yes, correct. Okay. When they replayed those moments where she, is talking about Dawn and she says, God hates divorce. I mean, she's like tearfully telling Tamra how God hates divorce. And it's just, she's perfect.
She really is. We got some beautiful montages. I will say her coming after Heather Dubrow and talking about, how Heather Dubrow, how most surgeons don't live in $40 million houses. I mean, that's not true, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I just think that the other unspoken, truth there is that Terry Dubrow is not just a surgeon. They have TV shows. They have all
Terry Dubrow is a full
businesses.
Celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they do QVC.
They do so much.
They just hustle a lot. He is not just in the operating room.
Right.
He is, I actually think he's kind of parlayed. I know he's just parlayed being a doctor into all these other bigger ventures. He's been on TV. They have a podcast. I just think they're very much so hustlers together.
Yeah, and I wish,
and I mean that positively.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I wish Heather had said, instead of his mom's still alive, which I think that there are ways for people to receive
Yes.
money, trust funds, while someone's still alive.
Yeah,
I think that it would have been better if she just said, hey, we work hard and we've made great investments.
Yeah.
Just talk about that it came from investments.
Yeah.
Which would actually track.
right.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so I want to talk about Jenn for a moment.
Yeah, I really want to talk about Jenn.
Because, woof.
Wolf is right, Chandler. Wolf is exactly right. Because not only is her son driving 105 miles an hour, but her other son.
We don't know what
she
son
confirmed.
it is. She confirmed that it's the youngest one?
Oh, no, I said another son.
Oh.
Or potentially the same son. She didn't say which one.
We don't know which son, that we're about to talk about.
Was part of a group of young men who started a fire.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, I've ruminated on this since I read the news.
He was a part of starting the Ladera Ranch fire.
You can all remember the Palisades fire, which decimated homes, and ruined people's lives.
Fires in general in California.
Ruined people's entire retirements and nest eggs. And by the way, they're not being made whole.
No, that's what I'm going to say. I'm the insurance landscape is completely different in California now.
We're not that far from Ladera Ranch.
No.
Where they started the fire. So that could have directly impacted our family. I just feel okay, I think that there needs to be a law that if you start a fire and you are a minor, you go to jail for 10 years. It needs to be not only start a fire and it doesn't matter what happens. Even if it goes out, you're in jail for 10 years.
Or at least I would say you need to go to jail for 6 months to a year.
No, 10 years. It needs to be 10 years because
I mean, I think 10 years is a lot.
No, exactly. But guess what? That is what's appropriate if you're risking lives being lost, so much financial damage. I'm sorry, that is appropriate. And you need to scare these young men so much.
I just do think that I think that prison for 2 years it sounds pretty scary. I don't think we're past the point, I think, of fines of and I am very curious about what the actual punishment will be from I didn't like how from the judicial branch.
I didn't like how she approached the whole 105 miles an hour chat in the kitchen. It was a little bit laughing.
Yes.
Talking about the consequences.
105 miles per hour.
Okay, he's putting other people's lives in danger.
It is. Yeah, it honestly was. It made me feel sick because I am just I don't have children. I don't know what it's like, but damn, raising teenage boys.
I think teenage boys are truly toddlers. They seem uncontrollable, but if they know there are consequences, they will actually they will behave themselves.
So if the law won't send your son to prison for 10 years, what is the punishment?
Create a prison in your home.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately the ramifications of literal fire can be so far reaching and it can escalate so quickly that there is just it's literally playing with fire. You cannot mess around with stuff like this.
You can't fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
So
no, and I think it's just the most
it's such a high school
spoiled. I'm entitled. I'm just
boys want to play with danger, and I think you have to just have. Anyway, I won't belabor this, but I've just obviously been thinking about it.
I feel pretty sick about this. And I hope that there are appropriate consequences.
Let's talk about the conversation between Heather and her mom.
Yes, please.
Very revealing.
I know.
I mean, I'm surprised Heather Dubrow is as well adjusted as she is.
Let's talk about it. So she has this conversation with her mom. We've met her mom on camera before.
No, we met her. Oh, met her mom on camera, yeah.
Yeah, we've met her mom on camera before.
We haven't met her mom.
We certainly have not. We love Heather. We have met her. But we have not met her mom.
Yeah.
So her mom has moved to California.
Yes.
And is living in the same apartment building as them or something. And she's sitting down with her mom asking her how she's going to make friends, now that she lives there. And her mom says, like, I want to spend time with the grandkids. And Heather's like, well, they're all gone.
Yeah.
You know, they've graduated from high school. They're in college or they're like post-college.
Yeah.
I mean, besides Nikki, who's just ready to be a cast member.
I was thinking, or like Nikki seemed like he was auditioning for like Chris Harrison's gig.
Yes.
He's honestly very darling.
He's darling. He's like good energy from Nikki. I did think it was also, he's just like game. He's game to do it.
Nikki is the classic child that's like maybe, I mean, only because I know too much about Heather Dubrow, haven't listened to her podcast, but he was never that academic, but he's like the classic child that's going to do really well because they have like tons of charisma in the books.
Totally. But anyway, back to Heather's mom.
Yeah, please share.
So she's talking about, how the kids have all left and they're not really here for for her to be, hanging around with them all the time. And she says, do you ever regret not having like moved out here to be closer to them?
Yeah. And her mom's basically like, well, you could have come to where we were in the Hamptons. Adam Sandler came and visited his family.
And her mom also says, we flew out for every
big
event. Yeah. And she's like, it's not the same. And then Heather's pretty vulnerable. And she says, I wish that my mom was a little bit more emotional in her like later years, that she was more emotionally forthcoming or vulnerable or whatever, like more tender. Mm-hmm. And her mom just does not seem tender. I mean, her mom also says at one point, and I would like a sweatshirt with this inscription. She says, God created Los Angeles, but he lives in New York.
And then Heather quips, how long did you practice that?
So I'm like, if I was her mom, I would have a few lines ready to go too.
No, absolutely.
Iconic. Like her mom just seems pretty cold.
Yeah. You know what it was giving? It was so odd because Heather does not give Lorelai, but it was giving Lorelai and Emily.
Yes.
Yeah. In such a funny way. I think that.
Like pretty stiff.
Super stiff and just completely unable to say they have any regrets, or to question their own actions in the past.
Heather also says, if you would talk to my mom about her life, she's going to tell you the places she went and the things she did.
Because that's what matters.
That's what matters to her. That's so pretty revealing.
I just think we have parents that are so the opposite. As, both of them. Our mom, though, like, just speaking to moms, because we're talking about a mom, our mom is not like this at all. So I just cannot even fathom.
Well, and like our parents, like their greatest achievement is literally their family.
Yes,
it's like their kids and the relationship that their kids have with each other and their relationship with their kids and their grandkids.
And they do not just fly out for events. They fly out whenever they can to be with their grandkids who are on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So it's like,
so odd.
I do think that it's just disappointing because you would hope that she would say, I do regret that. Like, I can't believe like how much we missed. And like, it makes me sad to think about that. And if there's something I could change, that would be one of them. Mm-hmm. It's so weird because it's like saying you have a regret doesn't make you seem like a bad person. It just makes you seem human.
And it makes you like, it gives you the opportunity to get closer to somebody through that vulnerability and to say like, I want to do better now, or like, this is what I would change, or like, let me give you this little piece of myself so that that like, just like it would make them closer.
Yeah. Anyway, made me sad for Heather and impressed that she's so well adjusted because that would be a tough mom to grow up with.
It also gave me, I think, new perspective for how Heather is the way she is.
Yeah. Like she's actually quite warm.
Completely. Considering that, if that was really like and I think it's pretty bold to say like on camera in your confessional that that's what my mom cares about.
She clearly has a mom who really cared about certain things. And so obviously, there maybe some of that was genetic, but what's not, like some of the perfectionism is genetic, but what's not genetic is like the coldness and the just, I think, weird values.
Yeah, yeah. Just being a little bit like less involved. Mm-hmm. Needing to be less close to your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chandler, it's been a gorgeous day. Anything else?
Nothing else. Okay. But I just love you. Love this podcast. Love our listeners, everybody. If you don't mind going to leave us a review and burying that one from our enemy.
Yes, please. We have an enemy and we need your help. Please leave us a review. Write us a review. It would mean the world.
Yes.
I only turned 26 once, okay?
You only turned 26 once. Yeah. So true, baby.
I'll be turning 26 again next year, though.
We love it. We love all the ages.
No, I turned 36 and I'm loving every second. I always thought 36 was like a hot age.
It is a hot age. Yeah.
No, I know, but there's something about 36 that just sounds
36.
Hot. Yeah, it's very close to 36. So true. Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.